And remember that Elvis Presley was in Fort Hood in March of 1958 till September of 1958. And my dad was there at the same time. And, Elvis was an American hero. He served his country. He didn't ask for favors. He asked to be treated like everybody else. And that's the man who was the king of rock and roll. And he did it. He did it for his country. He believed in his country. He believed in his government. He believed in his president. He had respect. You may not be a Democrat. You may be a Republican. It doesn't matter. He visited Nixon and he visited Jimmy Carter. Republican, Democrat. He respected the president. He respected his government. He respected his elders. And now that we are here and it's Veterans Day, I would like to say no matter who is your president, you guys need to respect the office of the President of the United States, regardless of your leanings and what you believe. I'm not going to tell you I'm a Democrat. I'm not going to tell you I'm a Republican. I'm going to tell you I am a person who loves this country, the United States of America. And it doesn't matter who's in the White House. It doesn't matter who's running your country. It doesn't matter who's the person in charge of your military, which is the president. He is the person in charge of all that goes on in the military. He is the commander-in-chief. But do me a favor. This is the only thing I'm going to say. Do me one favor. If you see a Vietnam veteran on the street who is homeless, who is, you just know is a Vietnam veteran, do me a favor. If you got $1 in your pocket, give it to him. If you got $5 in your pocket, give it to him. Tell him thank you. Because it was a damn shame that when they came home, they were treated like shit. They were spit on, they were yelled at, they were called baby killers. It is a shame. And I'm not going to sit here and dog on the people that are treated right now, because I got news for you. The generation that is out now, my generation or my son's generation, they're doing what they need to do to respect, or, doing things for them because they appreciate what they do for this country, for our freedoms. And I appreciate that, and I thank them for that. But, the Vietnam veterans were treated like shit. They had Agent Orange, sprayed on them. They're dying now. They've seen shit that you shouldn't see, and it's caused them mental issues. My dad's seen he's seen a lot of people killed that were lieutenants, so to speak, who were telling the sergeants what to do, and they've killed by friendly fire, as they call it. There was a lot of atrocities in Vietnam. You couldn't tell who you were fighting, when you were fighting, and you couldn't see who you were fighting. Guys, I got news for you. The people that came out of Desert Storm, and even the people that came out of Iraq, they didn't see the kind of atrocities that were in Vietnam or in World War II or in Korea. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, Iraq was not, is not a war, because it's a war. Trust me. There's shit blowing up everywhere. People losing legs, limbs, everything else. And I respect them. But what these guys went on in Vietnam, they were fighting in jungles. They couldn't tell who was the enemy, who was the friend. They couldn't tell any of that. And they had to know that when they're over there and they're fighting for their country, that the people in the United States of America that were the hippies at the time, they were sitting there protesting the war. And those are the same people that spit on them when they came home. That's all I ask. One last thing, I'm going to close the room on this Veterans Day, 2014. If you see a Vietnam veteran, give him a hug, tell him thank you. And if he's homeless, give him some money. Help him out. This is very important to me, guys. It really is. On these holidays, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, This is about the military. And it infuriates me how we seem to remember the World War II veterans, the Korean War veterans, but the Vietnam veterans, ironically, besides some stinking wall in Washington, D.C., which I'm not going to minimize, but it's all they got is a wall, guys, a couple walls. It's not enough. For what they did for this country and what they went through when they got back, it's not enough, guys. You know, every one of you, do whatever you can to think of Vietnam veteran, because I'm going to tell you, the Vietnam veterans came back. They're in the mental institutions right now because they can't handle what happened. They're homeless because they couldn't get a job, because nobody would help them, because nobody gave a shit. Frankly, to this day, they still haven't got what they deserve. My dad served in the military, and he retired in the Army in over 20-something years, like 23 years. And when it comes down to it, what he gets from retirement from the military is being cut. Why would anybody cut the military pay? That's one place you should never even consider cutting pay. His hospitalization it's got worse over the years, and I'm talking 10 years to now, and his retirement is getting cut in the near future if things come out the way they're supposed to come out based on what I'm hearing. Guys, seriously, why are we treating the Vietnam veterans like shit? If nothing else comes out of Veterans Day today, 2014, do me a favor, guys. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I want you to handshake the guys that were in Desert Storm. I want you to handshake the guys that were in Iraq, the guys that were in Afghanistan. Shake the hands of the guys in World War II, Korean War. You know, if they're around today, all those people, shake their hand. But the people in Vietnam that fought for your country in a war that I frankly am going to tell you, they didn't want to win. It was political. It had nothing to do with fighting a real war. It had everything to do with politics. And they had no intention of winning the war. They had no way of winning the war, and it was bogus. Give them a hug. Reach into your pocket and pull out your last $20 bill and give it to that homeless Vietnam veteran on the street. That's what I want you to do. And I'm going to do the same thing. And I do it every single time I see a Vietnam veteran. I thank him for his service. Because I'm going to tell you, when you do it, you'll probably be the first person that's done it in a long time. And it's sad. So with that, guys, we're going to close out the room on this Veterans Day 2014. I would like to say thank you to each and every one of you. And as you know, Elvis Presley was a brave veteran. He fought for this country, sort of. There was no wars going on. But he was ready to go, and he did what he had to do to serve his duty to the country, just like my dad. Unfortunately, my dad went into Vietnam, and Elvis went back into rock and roll music, where we all enjoyed his music and his movies and everything else. I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of them that served this country. We respect each and every one of you. God bless you all for being here. And as you know, this room is about Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, the greatest entertainer that ever lived, the one and the only.